Welcome to the Life, Love, Everything podcast. I am your host, Tasmin Bota. We are continuing our special RSV awareness series where we are spreading awareness and not RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, also known as RSV, can appear as a common cold. It is highly contagious and it affects the respiratory part of our bodies, causing sometimes mild cold like symptoms in the majority of people. And while typically mild, it can cause severe lung infections like bronchiolitis or pneumonia. And today we are joined by my fellow Preemie mommy, Inge-Mari Taljaard.
Hi.
Inge-Mari is based in the Northwest. She's a wife, a mom of two beautiful little humans. She's a content creator sharing her real life, a little bit of chaos, and a lot of love. I totally can relate to all of that, Inge-Mari. And she loves filming, editing, and sometimes having to reheat her coffee because she's such a busy mom.
All the time.
Inge-Mari, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited. As
Hmm.
much as this is a very serious topic that we are talking about, but the fact that you have
Definitely.
taken time out to come and sit on the podcast at the tail end of your RSV journey, which we are going
Yeah.
to dive into, I am so grateful. I am so grateful.
I'm happy to be here. Very, very happy. Very excited to spread awareness as well.
Thank you so much. So we're going to dive straight into it. And I love for us to start at the beginning. So tell us about your journey into motherhood.
I had a rough journey, actually. We started trying for our first in 2021. I unfortunately had a miscarriage at about 6 to 8 weeks. And then it took another little bit to eventually get pregnant with my now 3-year-old, who is a preemie. And then with baby number two, it happened so quickly. We was in shock and also a difficult pregnancy and another preemie.
Oh my
That yeah,
goodness.
no, my body
Kind of
did
like,
not tolerate pregnancy at all.
oh, that is so sad because I know that, once
Hmm.
you've had a preemie, I feel like you're always dreaming about that perfect pregnancy,
Having
that
that perfect
perfect
first
birthday.
moment, looking after that baby in your room. No, no, no. Instead, I had NICU visits.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to speak
Yeah.
about both of your journeys through the NICU?
Oh, yeah. With my first, she was born at 36 weeks. She was taken to the NICU immediately. Um, she was on CPAP for about a week, if not longer. And then we transitioned to, room air, and she refused bottles. She wanted a breast. She refused bottles. She refused a dummy. And I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through it? But we went through it. We got through it. With the
Smart
NICU,
girl.
the
She's a
nurses,
smart
she's a
girl.
very smart girl. She's a very smart girl. She's like, no, mom, I don't want the plastic. But yeah, no, we went through that NICU journey. We were in hospital, I want to say for 2 weeks. Um, yeah, it was about 2 weeks. It was a hard, long journey because we stayed in the Northwest, but we had to travel to the Vaal, where most of our family stayed. So we had the support system there. And now with the second NICU journey, we had my dad and my stepmom or my mum. So they were here to help us with my now 3-year-old. My mum came all the way from Pretoria. My in-laws came all the way from the Vaal. We had such a structured support system for her so that we can go to the NICU. And we moved while he was in.
Oh my goodness. As if all of
He
that
came.
wasn't enough, just throw in some moving.
He was like, no, mom. He was like, no, mom, I know you're planning on moving on Saturday, but I want to come on Tuesday.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, I was recovering from an emergency C-section, having him in the NICU. My husband was here moving.
What
No,
a
it
roller
was a
coaster.
it was definitely a roller coaster. I'm telling you, I don't wish it on anyone.
I agree. Were there signs that you were going to have a preemie the second time around? What happened that led to the premature birth?
So with him, he was already measuring 2 weeks ahead early on in my pregnancy. I had a high risk pregnancy. I had a blood clot between my placenta and where he was lying at around 13 weeks. And then I was constantly hospitalized for bleeding. Um, I also, as soon as I started feeling him, he decided to turn. So I couldn't feel him at all during the
Sure.
later stage of my pregnancy. I went to my gynae. I was hospitalized a few times because he stopped moving. I couldn't feel him. We tried to turn him. He would turn for like half an hour and then he would go back. He was transverse, then he was sunny side up, then he was ready to come down. And by my 36-week appointment, my wonderful gynae, she's a fetal specialist as well. She looked at me and she said, "You do not look comfortable." I was like, "I am not comfortable. I'm the size of a whale. This child is so heavy by this point. I'm struggling to sleep. I can't walk. I'm not feeling him as much as I should. And there is a lot of room for him to, still be able to feel him." So she looked at him and she's like, "You know what? He needs to come out. You will not see 38 weeks. I don't even think you're going to see 37 weeks. He needs to come
Mm,
out." I asked him if we can just keep him in just a little bit longer. Just give me a week. I just want to
yeah.
get to that point where, he's not going to have to essentially go to the NICU. And he came out screaming. He wasn't even out. His body wasn't even out of me, and he started screaming. The pediatrician looked him
Wow.
over and he's like, "No, he's fine. We're going to take him. He's going to get cleaned up." And by the time I got to my room, they were, "We have to take him to the NICU. His lungs isn't coping." So, yeah, there were signs with both of my pregnancies, both the exact same, stopped moving, and then they needed oxygen. They couldn't breathe on their own. Yeah.
Sure. And how long was your NICU stay the second time around?
Also 2 weeks. But he was
Okay.
on CPAP for 9 days, whereas
Oh,
my daughter was on
wow.
it for 7 days. So he was already on CPAP longer. And then they had him on the nasal cannula eventually, but then he wasn't thriving. So they had to give him warm oxygen. He couldn't take in the normal pressured oxygen. They had to warm up his oxygen, or that's what they told us. Covering from
Yeah.
emergency C-section. I was not functioning. I was not sleeping. I just wanted my baby. So I don't think I understood what they said at that time.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think and it's also understandable, like you're saying, like there's so much going on with you physically, and then
Yes.
you're expected to be able to absorb all of this information, and you
Yeah.
think that as it being your second time around, like okay, I know
You would have
everything
the
that's
gist of it.
going on, I understand, but each journey
Mm-mm.
is so unique in
It's
itself
so
because each
different. Yeah.
child is so unique in
It's,
themselves. So
that's true.
I can
That's true.
understand how overwhelming all of that was. And
Oh,
also
definitely.
just going into the NICU, whether you're there for 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, it is traumatizing
It is
regardless.
traumatizing. It
So
is,
did it
all the
bring up
beeping of the machines. Ooh,
that's what I was
the
gonna say.
trauma.
Did it bring up any of those old feelings from the
Oh,
first time
yes.
around?
Oh, yes, definitely. I remember with my daughter, while we were in the NICU, there was another baby that came in, and you would just hear her machines going beep, 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 going crazy. They had to perform, I want to say, a surgery inside the NICU with her.
Mhm.
Um, and just that alone freaked me out. So when this NICU journey came around, both of my kids were the biggest babies in the NICU because they were both over 3 kilograms. Whereas then the other babies were so teeny tiny, so small. The baby across from him, he was in his own baby across from him was so, so tiny. And just the beeping of that baby's machine gave me PTSD. Like I had so anxiety going into the every day thinking, here we go again. It's another journey. And I would walk in
Mm,
with my cooler bag, with my breast milk. I'm like, "Listen, I hope this is enough." And then every 3 hours, I was at the, it was,
sure.
It became a
It's
routine, get up, pump, get ready, go to the NICU, come back home, pump, go to the NICU, pump, go to the That was our routine every day. Pumping and going to the NICU.
terrible. And you not getting
To
any sleep because you have to, when
no,
you're pumping, you have to stick to that
to
schedule.
that
But
schedule.
then
Hmm.
obviously the other part of your brain is thinking, is my child okay? So you never actually, even in that 3 hour window, you never actually fully resting.
You don't rest. No, you light sleep. You're such a light sleeper in that moment. And then as soon as that baby also comes home, you are still constantly worrying, is he breathing? Is he okay? Is he feeding well? Does he need medication? What time must I do this? Is he going to it's the list just goes on and on and on.
Oh man, no, I get it. I so get it. So
Yeah.
RSV is something that is not new to you because
Oh,
your daughter also experienced RSV.
he,
Do you
yes.
want to tell us about that journey with your first child and then walk us through what was it that alarmed you with your baby that made you think, something's not okay? Yeah,
So
like I see the signs and symptoms.
yeah. So with her, she was never a spitter. She wouldn't drool. She wouldn't spit up after drinking. So we weren't using burp cloths or anything like that. But that one night, this child spit up every 10, 15 minutes. I
Oh my
went through burp
goodness.
cloths like it was wipes at that point. And I told my husband, something is not right. She's now starting to spit up. I'm worried she's going to start vomiting. Something is not right. This is not my child. And we took her to the ER and she was swabbed in the ER and they said, we're going to have to admit you because you are telling us that this child does not vomit. She's a bit dehydrated. Something's not right. He had rhinovirus, adenovirus, and RSV all at the same time.
Oh
Just
my
that one,
goodness.
just that vomiting symptom. That was her only symptom. Just that.
Wow.
She was
Which
in a
is
hospital
also
for
not a
5.
very
It's not
common
a common
symptom.
RSV symptom.
Mm.
It's not. It's not even on the list of symptoms to look
Wow.
out
But
for.
that mommy voice, which is
That
something
is,
I always tell our parents, regardless of
listen to
whoever, whatever expert says to you, you are the expert of your
your
child.
child much better than a
Yes.
pediatrician or a nurse would know them. So I look out for everything. If my child is just grumpy, I'll be like, something's not because this is
Mm.
a happy child. Why is it all of a sudden a grumpy child? This is not right. And the same with him. He was admitted into hospital the week before he had RSV. He was in there Friday to Sunday with rhinovirus, which we were told is just a common
Oh,
cold. Just a common cold. It's nothing to worry about. Sunday, you're going to go home is going to be fine. By Wednesday, my child was wheezing. He was not sleeping. He couldn't breathe, essentially. And so we had to take him to the ER. Again, they swabbed him in the ER. They admitted him on oxygen. He had RSV from a common cold, and his
oh
only
my,
symptom was wheezing. So it's not,
wow.
RSV doesn't always play out to be all the symptoms, but it changes. Like you can go from having a runny nose to fully wheezing within 2 hours. He was wheezing.
Wow.
We were in the ER, he was wheezing, and within an hour, they had to put him on oxygen because he couldn't breathe. He was struggling to breathe. His chest was so full of phlegm that you could see how constricted his chest became at some point. And they made the call to put him on oxygen. And he was on oxygen for 9 full days of being in hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
How scary was that for you?
Oh no, that was very terrifying. It was the scariest 10 days of my life. One specific day was the day that we had to be transferred to ICU because he passed out in my arms. He choked on his own phlegm. He was trying to cough it out, but with RSV, your phlegm is very sticky and thick. So it doesn't come out. It's not, you can't just clear your throat and be like, okay, the phlegm's gone.
Mhm.
Especially in babies, that phlegm sticks. And so when he was trying to vomit, it came up and it went down the wrong hole. He choked. He passed out in my arms. I was
Oh my gosh.
terrified. Yeah. I just remember giving him to the nurse and I don't know what's going on. Just that few seconds of him passing out, they made the call. The pediatrician was there within minutes, transferred him to ICU. We were there for 2 days on oxygen. They monitored him 24 hours on the clock. There was a
Oh my
nurse with him the entire time he was in the ICU. So
That is super scary that
I've
even
never
while you are in facility, you are still experiencing such
severe. Yeah, I told my husband because then where the ICU is just a few feet further, the NICU is right there. I had to walk past the NICU to go to the ICU. It was like this. It brings back
right?
so much memories that I don't necessarily want to always remember, especially in that
Mm,
moment. Yeah.
true, true. Sure. So I know that I mean you guys got discharged and then how has he been since being discharged from hospital?
So when we were discharged Easter weekend, I think we were discharged on Saturday or Sunday. I can't really remember now. And by that, the following Thursday, I had to take him back to the pediatrician because he was still wheezing. He was still coughing a lot. And where we live, we couldn't get the medication that he needed. The nebulizing medication. No pharmacy had stock. The hospital pharmacy was closed for Easter weekend, so we had to work with what we had at home. Luckily, I
Mm,
still had some nebulizing medication from when he was admitted for rhinovirus, so I had to use that and a lot of saline. So I had to take him back to the pediatrician. Not a pediatrician of my choice, if I'm going to be honest. I had to take him back, and he said if he's not better within 2 weeks, we are going to have to start treating him for asthma because he could possibly have asthma from RSV, which is something you hear and you're like, no, wait, why? Because how can something that's a common cold now all of a sudden be asthma? I don't understand. But luckily now he's much better. He's thriving, always smiling, not sleeping, but he's happy. That is the
oh,
main thing. He's happy and he just wants to crawl all of a sudden. So we are relieved that he's better
and he's better. How old
because
is your son?
he's 7 months old. He just turned 7 months this past week.
Sure.
Yeah.
That is
So he's
so,
still a
so
small baby.
scary. Yeah, he's still a baby. And I mean, for
He's
him
still a
to
baby.
go through all of that, like I can just
Yeah.
only imagine. I can only imagine the fear, because like you're saying, yes, and I think it's something that a lot of parents don't know, and why it's so important that
Hmm.
people like you do share your stories is
Yeah.
because a common cold in a small baby, whether they are
It's different.
premature or full term,
Hmm.
can affect them in a totally different
In the
way.
long
Remember,
run,
they are
yeah.
small. They don't have an
Hmm.
immune system built up as
They
yet.
don't.
They are relying
Mm-mm.
on us as the adults to provide immunity for them. So when you are
Yes.
coming around a child and it's just a runny nose, or no, it's just
Hmm.
sinus, or I was sick last week, and you're coming
No,
around a small
stay
baby,
away from my child. Hmm.
and I
And the
think
fact that, like, don't kiss a child that did not come out on you. I don't care if you are a grandparent or if you are the mom or dad's best friend. I don't even care if you are a sibling. Like my 3-year-old knows she does not kiss her brother. She can kiss him on the head and on his feet and on his stomach, but she will not kiss him on his mouth. We are
mm,
very, very strict because she's in school. She
yeah,
might not get flu from a child sitting next to her, but she can be a carrier. And now comes
absolutely.
home and she's all over baby brother and he's sick. We have very strict rules. The grandparents know they are not allowed to kiss our children for the first 2 years of their lives. They don't kiss them. We are very,
No,
very
I
strict.
get I absolutely get
just
it.
based
I
on.
remember that I was so pedantic on the very rare occasions, because we really didn't go out much. We got discharged from NICU May, and the weather was like how the weather has been in Joburg the past few days. Hot, cold, then the sun is shining, then it's not. And
Then it's raining.
We went straight into isolation. So we only came out in the summer months for this very reason of not wanting our child to get sick. I didn't know about RSV at that time, but just to avoid him getting sick. And when we did venture out into public, we would all wear signs, these little signs. There'd be a sign on the pram as everybody. Okay. So I've got an older son, my husband, myself. These little signs that say, please don't come near the baby, because people are generally curious. When they see a little baby, they want to smile, they want to lean in, they want to touch it.
Yeah,
from a mile away, we were like, I could spot someone that had that look in their eye that, oh, we want to see the baby.
And it's always these old grannies that's just like, oh, I want to touch your baby, and then stay away. I will bump you with my trolley. Go away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fact also that you brought up the asthma aspect of it, because what people don't also understand with your common cold, as they are so wrongly labeling it, is that there are long-term effects. And even as
especially on preemies.
Especially on preemies. And guys, if you can imagine, I mean, on a newborn baby, they pathways are small. On a preemie, it's even smaller. So the minute something is blocking that, it becomes so constricted, and sometimes it doesn't even have time to ever grow out into full capacity. Obviously, we don't know because only now are they starting to examine how prematurity affects people in adulthood. But so we don't know if their lungs actually ever grow to full
and
size.
fully mature.
And if I think about it, most preemies stay tiny throughout their whole lives. And I would think that everything else does not get to that full grown capacity. That is just my personal opinion. It is not medical advice. But that is why they end up having such long-term effects of just contracting a cold or RSV, as we know.
True.
And RSV is, like you said, your son had rhinovirus. It is the leading cause of all these other respiratory infections. And so, were you ever advised to get the vaccination for RSV?
No, we weren't. We were actually told that there's no medication, there's no vaccination, there's nothing for RSV. They have a protocol that they have to follow, and that's it. That's what we know about RSV. I didn't know about a vaccination until last week.
Wow. That is so interesting. They only told me about a vaccination a year later. And the vaccines are for the first RSV season.
But now you can imagine, I have a 3-year-old.
1 year after the fact doesn't help anybody.
It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody at all. And with my 3-year-old, I mean, you would think that during the time that she had RSV to now, that there would be a mention about it. We have not heard about it. It's not in the Road to Health book, where the vaccination, there's no space for an RSV vaccination. The pediatricians don't tell you about an RSV vaccination. The hospital, they just tell you we have to follow a protocol. So we give antibiotics, we do physio to suction the phlegm out, and that's about it. Saline.
That is so crazy. Especially, I mean, you would think at the very least, right, at hospital level, that they are sharing this information, because they are the people that are receiving the patients who have RSV. I can understand at a community level, maybe. Yes, they don't know. But at hospital, I would think it's something that you would see information around the hospital. I have never seen any information relating to RSV. And yet, if most children before the age of 2 will have
Will
RSV,
have RSV.
which is crazy because if there is a way to prevent RSV, why aren't we preventing it? Because then we prevent
And why
all
isn't it
these
being
other
talked about?
long-term effects that come about it. So
Exactly.
wow. I'm really shocked that they didn't tell you anything.
They didn't
So,
tell me anything, and it's a private hospital. So I can
which
still
is another
understand the
thing because
government
it
hospital.
is
They don't have the they don't get everything that private hospitals get. I understand that. But then why don't we know about this vaccination? Why isn't
mm,
it not talked about? Why are you
yeah,
following that protocol? And when you see that protocol is not working, just be like, but that's all we can do.
yeah, sure. Wow, that is
So,
crazy. Have there been, and I'm sure they have, financial implications? So obviously somebody is taking off time from work, or even just the hospitalization itself and the medical
mhm.
aid. And I know
So
how
yeah,
medical aid works. Then all of a
medical aid.
sudden, this is
Hmm.
exhausted, and that is, or they're not approving this, which is another thing when it comes
Hmm.
to the vaccination. So,
To
do you mind
yeah,
talking just a little bit about the financial aspect of it?
we we are very fortunate to have medical aid, but we do have a co-payment when we go through the ER. It's not a lot, but for some people that's that's the
Sometimes
groceries
you
for a
don't have
week or
that
for a
money
month.
readily
Or
available.
exactly. So we are very fortunate to be in that position that we can afford it. My husband had to still work. He could not take off for
Mm.
for hospital. Um, my my dad couldn't take off, but my stepmom or my mom, I should stop calling her my stepmom, she works from home. So she was essentially our support system during the day for our 3-year-old. She would fetch her from school. And then, when my dad gets home, they would look after her. Um, I had to stock up on nappies while we were in hospital because with the antibiotics, it was just
Mm.
it was a diarrhea. I had a poop
Yeah.
explosion every single time. So you can
Wow.
imagine having to go through a pack of nappies in 3, 4 days.
Yeah,
Nappies are
even that is
expensive.
its own financial burden.
That is its own financial burden. And then if you want to count the amount of coffee that I had every day for those 3 days, because hospital coffee is just not it. It's not it. But yeah, so I think I spent probably close to, I want to say 400 or 500 rand per day. And that is to go down to the store, to the cafe to get myself coffee. Every second day I would get myself a slice of cake because I am a eater. And that's just my basic things that I would need for the day,
Mm.
snacks and water and cold drinks and maybe some food if the hospital, because I'm breastfeeding, they gave me food. So
Ah,
small portions, which, you know, you're breastfeeding, that's not going to last you until dinner or until lunch. So I had to get myself some food during the day as well. So it all adds up if you take 400, 500 rand a day for
absolutely.
10 days. But yeah, that's luckily I swiped my husband's card, not mine. So. That's
I love it.
it.
What advice would you like to give to other parents and just to the public in general when
Mhm.
it comes to RSV? Yes, we mentioned no kissing the babies, but is there anything
That's the
else
main one.
that you think
That is
parents?
my main one. Stop letting people kiss your baby. Just stop. And if you know your child as a happy, always smiling, having a routine, sleeping at this time, feeding, eating this much, if you know that as your child, and the next day you see, but my child is not my child, he's not
Mm,
eating, or he refuses to sleep all of a sudden, or he's not himself, he's not laughing, he's not happy, he just wants to be helped, that it needs to set up, like alarms need to go off in your head. Take your child to a doctor or an ER. Just ensure that that baby that can't speak for themselves gets help, because it can just be a common cold, but it can also be RSV. and
mm,
and in 1 second is just, it's too late. It can go from being nothing to being severe within a few hours.
I love it. Thank you so much for that advice. I think it's the perfect way for us to end off this recording. But your honesty, your transparency, it's so important. Thank you for stepping up to raise awareness. And I'm just so glad to hear that your little boy is doing so much better now. Hopefully
He's so
you'll be
much
able
better.
to get some
Actually,
sleep.
I can hear him now, so I think it is close to nap time, and I think I'm also going to take a nap now with him.
You do that. You deserve a nap, okay?
I need to sleep.
Absolutely. Inge-Mari, thank you so much for joining us on the Life, Love, Everything podcast. I am your host,
Thank you for having
Tasmin
me.
Bota.
Bye.